Just stop it. The run-of-the-mill, cheesy, humdrum bullshit status quo just tires me out. What fascinates me are the industry disruptors, the superhuman frontiersmen or women who go through hell to achieve their goals. Join me as we meet and learn from those mavericks, rebels, and business leaders that aren't afraid to piss off the establishment in order to make radical change for good. Sponsored by Johto PR, the disruptive anti-PR firm that murders your competition with cinder blocks and cyanide. This is Disruption Interruption. All right, great. Did you have to press any button that says it's okay to record, or are we all good?
We're all good. I mean, I pressed it. We're good.
Okay. All right, great. Welcome back, everybody, to Disruption Interruption. I'm your host, KJ, and we're here today to talk to another industry leader that has steered off the lame, tired path of the status quo. Yay. Let's talk about one of the last great bastions of doing things the hard way, the legal industry. We're told that the eye-watering cost of legal help is just the price you pay for quote-unquote expertise. We're paying for legal genius, but we're subsidizing a 1990s filing cabinet. In other words, it's a world of instant data, but why is your law firm still moving at the speed of a carrier pigeon? Our guest today is here to tell you that that it's time to stop padding billable hours and start actually scaling. He's a two-time founder who's cut his teeth in the high-stakes world of FinTech, helping build a platform from 0 to 400 million in loan volume. He knows exactly what white glove service looks like, and he knows that manual does not mean better. He's disrupting the headcount to growth myth and proving that law firms can take on more work, serve more people, and actually improve the client experience without hiring a small army of clerks. Please welcome our disruptor, the co-founder and CEO of Donna AI, Saumya Banker.
Thank you so much, KJ. I'm really happy and excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. From FinTech and banking to law. How exciting.
Yeah, it's a great, these are all like regulated and very important spaces in the economy. So I really loved contributing to them and aspire to continue contributing to it in the near future.
Yeah, it's a really good point that you made, Saumya, is it is very important to our economy and contributes to our economy and highly regulated because it is important to so many people in the economy. You know what? First of all, just a little bit about you. What has carried you through your career, your life to be innovative or disruptively innovative?
Yeah, I think it started from a very early age. I always was a very curious being, and I always asked why things are done in a certain way. And it was quite annoying for my parents, very candidly. They're just like, I'm telling you, just do it this way. And then
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. And that transitioned over to teachers and then professors and then eventually employers. And so I was always curious. I don't like moving forward with just because it's always been done that way, just because of status quo. I'm always looking for opportunities about improvement and also like more efficiency, as long as it maps towards the outcome that the team and that we're looking for as well. So I think it really stems from my curiosity.
Yeah, I love that. And it's common with, I don't know, the 200 plus disruptors we've had on this podcast. I think one of the main underlying common denominators is curiosity. Why? Why not? Why? Yeah. What caused you to look at the legal industry and ask why? What were some of the why questions that you were asking yourself and others?
Yeah, a couple of things. So it actually started because one of my cousins was actually going through a divorce and it was taking an emotional toll on her. And so she actually asked me to kind of step in and help guide that process and work with her lawyers. And so when I was working throughout the case, I just saw so many inefficiencies, so much lack of tracking. Things are getting lost in multiple email threads. We're getting charged for bills where I'm wondering why we're getting charged for these bills in 2025 and 2026 when this is more like very repeatable, easy, tedious tasks, which AI can definitely do. And so I just felt like there were just a ton of problems in the space that this industry overall hadn't modernized to the capability of what we can do today in the age of the 2020s, right? And that really tickled my curiosity, and I decided to look deeper. So me and my co-founder started talking to tons of lawyers. So at the time, before we decided to even jump in, we talked to about 75 lawyers, and we found—
What were the questions you were asking them? I'm so curious because I get it on the And I'm sorry your friend had to go through that, or your cousin, but I
Yeah.
get it on the inefficiencies, and you saw this, and it looks like you were getting inaccurate bills or questions on that and so forth. Like when you started talking to lawyers, what was the line of questioning that you were asking?
Yeah, so we went in with like a really blank paper, trying to understand what's going on in their mind. So we would really start with kind of discovery, as I like to call it. So we would start with, what do you do? Tell me about your day. Tell me about your week. Paint me a picture about what you do. What are the types of cases you do? How many types of cases are like this versus this? Okay, now let's talk about a particular case. Tell me about the first interaction you had with that client. Then what happened? Then what happened? Then what happened? And like trying to understand the whole life cycle of each and individual one of these cases to try to understand what they're doing internally. And that's leading to some of these issues that are client facing. And clients don't really have a lot of transparency into them, very candidly. So just trying to understand it with a few lawyers, we actually asked to job shadow them as well. So we actually went into their offices and shadowed them for 4 hours or 8 hours. We shadowed some people virtually as well, joined some calls with clients to try to really understand, and just found like a lot of things being done the way they are just because that's the only way they were taught.
Because that's the way it's been done.
Exactly.
So it sounds to me like you were really figuring out the workflow.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole jobs to be done, as we like to call it in technology.
Right. Okay, got it. The jobs to be done. Did
Correct.
you find that there was a consistency between attorney to attorney based on that particular process and workflow?
Yeah, so we did find a lot of overlap. So there is definitely distinction between the size of the firm and then the practice area of the firm. So,
Yeah.
for example, a big law corporate will work quite different than like a personal injury solo, for example. But we found that commonality as we're talking to so many lawyers that, hey, I spoke with two solos and then they have this overlap, while those people may not, but they have different other problems. So definitely found a lot of commonality, and some commonality that, to be very candid, lawyers did not see themselves because
Because they're in it, right?
they're in it exactly. So a lawyer might see that it's completely different for a personal injury versus like an estate. Whereas like I'm like, oh, actually at the end of the day, the menial tasks that you guys are doing behind the scenes, some of that is the same, even though the practice of law may be different. But in order to even get to that state, the underlying tasks are the same.
Got it. Got it. Well, that's probably valuable. And they didn't mind you shadowing them and asking them all these questions. Like, what did you tell them you were doing?
Yeah, so my first conversation, I would be very candid in the sense where, hey, I come from a background of technology. I'm very curious about the legal space, trying to understand if there's any challenges or pain points within it. I would just love to hear about your workflow. Would you be open to a conversation? And a lot of people are quite curious. So a
Like
lot
to
of people
help.
said no too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people said no, and a lot of
Yeah.
people were very curious. And then the shadowing piece really came later. So I think with lawyers as an industry, you have to build a lot of trust, which is totally
Mhm.
fair. I totally understand where they're coming from. So after multiple conversations, then we would be like, okay, it's great. Like I'm learning a lot. I think I could even expedite my learning. Can I come shadow you tomorrow or
Right.
next week? And so it was after building a few after having a few conversations and building trust.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. And so what were some of the, so you found, so there obviously, like there was ways of doing things. This is the way we've always done it. But what were the top three things that were the biggest, like the good, the ugly part of the status quo
Yeah.
that was impacting the legal industry and impacting, of course, the client experience, the clients being able to get help? Like what were the top three things?
Yeah, I think one of them is time tracking. So lawyers and their support staff all bill on hourly basis, but none of them are good at billing on hourly basis. There's exceptions out there, but the majority are actually not good at billing on hourly basis. They forget what they're working on. They're going off memory at the end of the week or end of the month that 3 weeks ago on this date during this half an hour time slot, I worked on this case. And
Right.
so a lot of times it's a lot of guesswork that's happening, and they're like, oh, I think it should have taken this long, so let me bill somebody this much. And so there's not actually clear transparency. That is
Okay.
one of them. The second one is
Don't you think
Uh,
it's a little ironic? I mean,
yeah,
I
crazy.
understand that it happens, but our life is full of ironies today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite insane.
Yeah.
The second piece is that a lot of the work that I was quite shocked in, a lot of the work that is outputted from a law firm is actually done by like the paralegal or law clerk.
Yeah.
A lawyer, a lot of times, I won't say all the times, and lawyers do work differently. Lawyers, a lot of times, are mostly just reviewing the documents and moving it forward and providing guidance along the way. But at the end of the day, the document that is being drafted, it's coming from templated documents sometimes, which is good. That's a step forward. Some people don't have templated documents, but usually a templated document, and it's being done by law clerks or paralegals, a lot of which don't really have any background in law as well. So which I found very fascinating. And then the third piece I would say is there's a
Just before you get to the third piece, so a lot of the work was done by paralegals. What was the inefficiencies or the things that you saw there? They didn't have a process, or they had better processes than the attorney, or
I think the inefficiencies I saw there was everything is kind of in their brain about what they need to do. So there's task
okay,
management softwares out there, but everything is always chasing towards the next deadline. So
yeah,
if somebody's working on a case for client A and client B, client A has work that needs to be done, but their deadline is not for 2 weeks from now. So we're just gonna ignore them for a week. And then
got
client
it.
B's work is due on Friday. So let's go tackle that work, which is fair. Like I get it. Like you need to meet deadlines, but you also
Right.
need to keep moving all cases forward and all treat all of your clients well because it's a lot of their like it's their life that's dependent on this. So a little bit, a week or 2 weeks, and sometimes we see months worth of delays are just
Mm,
not, because there's no immediate deadline coming and you don't want to proactively do something. That
right.
that was a big pain point that I saw.
Wow. Okay, got it. Totally tracking. So we've got the billable hours, we've got the paralegal, everything's in their head, and they're working on deadlines of yesterday, we could say. Okay, what
Yeah.
was the third one?
Third thing is similar to the second one in the sense where it's very hard to get a lawyer on the phone or get them to respond back to an email just because they're swamped and they're mostly swamped on the next deliverable, the next deadline. So any communication that really needs to happen, and I saw this firsthand with my cousin's case, we hired a lawyer that we're happy with, we would recommend, but at the end of the day, unless there was something really burning, it's just impossible to get a response from them.
Yeah, because they were going to the next burning fire, to the next burning fire, to the next burning
Ex
fire.
exactly.
Okay, got it. So, as a technologist, right, what was out of those, say, three things,
Mhm.
what was your conclusion as to the why? What could be done?
I think the why is because law firms are very overwhelmed. And a lot of the reason they're overwhelmed is because there's so much tedious operational and administrative work that actually takes up time in a law firm. And a big law has actually solved for this with throwing an army of support staff behind there. But then they also come with a hefty cost that's not affordable to most people. The small law is still a hefty cost, but a little bit more affordable, but because they don't have the fleet of support staff, but it's much more unorganized in that manner. So you always have to be on top of your case and always have to keep following up and kind of be shaking the tree to in order to get some attention.
Yeah, I mean, this has such a big trickle-down effect with the whole industry and cases that are, clogging up the system, and we don't have enough attorneys for the backlog that's happening in our court system. I mean, this has a huge impact on it. You want to talk about that? Tell our
Yeah.
listeners about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So part of the thing, some of the things is a lot of these cases actually can get solved and resolved much earlier on, as long as you're moving each step forward. But because until somebody deals with a deadline, they're actually just delaying it and onboarding more cases. So more people, there's more cases in the bottleneck overall. And the other aspect that we've seen is just it really decreases the access to justice for folks. Like this is just not an affordable process for most folks, especially when it's just dragging on for 6 months, a year, 2 years, which is quite common in various types of cases. And so it just becomes unaffordable. And because of that, a lot of people don't even bother going to court or getting a lawyer just because they know they've already lost.
Right. And that's a really, really good point.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of Donna AI? Like, why are you doing this? Like
Yeah.
your mission.
Yeah. Our mission is actually to improve the efficiencies within a law firm. So overall, they can actually move things forward and make their whole solution cheaper for an end client, which increases the access to justice, right? So in my opinion, that's a win-win because the lawyers are still able to make their financial revenue as they projected, if not even grow further, because they're able to take on more clients. But more clients are also able to take on legal services and actually request justice just because it's much more affordable and we're democratizing that process.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, access to justice is a human right.
Right.
So you're doing something very valuable in that. I love that. It is very altruistic. Who do you find are your early adopters right now with Donna AI?
Yeah, our early adopters are actually the folks that have a similar mission in the sense where they actually feel guilty about delaying a client's case and also believe that, yes, they shouldn't be charged for sending an email, for example, or sending a call or receiving a call or basic things like that. So we're seeing a lot of adopters in that space who actually want to improve their practice operations and also take on more clients. And also one common theme we're seeing with our early adopters is they're actually AI forward and they are technology forward. They know technology is here to augment humans rather than replace humans, which is a strong belief of Donna and myself as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, that's great. So tell us, just give us an elevator pitch on Donna AI.
Yeah, so the solo practitioners and small personal law firms, 40% of the work in their law firm is actually operational and administrative work. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to take that and off their plate fully through a suite of AI agents so they can focus on kind of the legal work that they went to law school for and be able to take on more clients and consult in order to increase access to justice.
It's fantastic. And what are your growth plans?
Yeah, so we are currently very focused on this customer profile, which is solos and small personal firms, small law firms, because they're the ones who feel the pains the most. And we want to kind of become their one tool or operating system, as we like to call it, to tackle all of the work from everywhere from like related initiatives all the way to like case operations, like all the back and forths that happen in a case, alongside with kind of billing and payments as well to make sure that they also get paid for their services. So kind of tackle all of that so lawyers can kind of focus on what they went to law school for, right? They went to
That's
law
right.
school to practice legal work. They didn't go to law school to play babysitter. They didn't go to law school to just clean up emails or download something, upload something, rename files, and things like that.
Totally got it. And improve the access to justice.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you mostly focused in the US?
We're focused in the US and Canada.
Okay, got it. Well, we're a very litigious society in the US, so I'm sure, yeah. 40% of the work though is administrative work. That's quite a boost to help,
Right.
particular law firms. I think it's great. How big is your total addressable market in terms of how many small law firms like that?
Yeah, so small law firms under 10 is actually 82% of all law firms in the United States and
Damn.
Canada. So there's about 450,000 law firms amongst the two, and 82% is that. So we're looking at about 350,000 law firms.
Yeah, got it. Great.
Yeah.
What's your biggest challenge right now, Soumya?
Our biggest challenge is growth. And part of that growth, we are actively growing week over week, month over month. I'm just a person who's a little impatient at times and wants to even grow faster. And part of our bottleneck for growth is kind of building that trust that I spoke about earlier. Lawyers want to make sure that they partner with folks that they trust, and lawyers usually trust other lawyers. And so with people like me and my co-founders who come from a more of a technology background rather than a law background, it takes a little bit of time and a few different engagements in order to build that trust in order for them to kind of try us out. So that's a little bit of a bottleneck right now.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, that is how disruption interruption started. Giving those innovators and disruptors a platform to tell their story on a third-party channel that allows people to get the information on their own and start understanding the story and building that trust. It's a big issue. You have a big education curve, right? And you have a
Yeah,
big credibility curve that you have to
correct.
overcome. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like with a lot of innovators and disruptors, which are all technologists that we speak to all the time, what they tell us is it's no longer the technology that's the challenge. It's the credibility and the storytelling that becomes then the hat that they are forced to wear that they didn't know they were going to have to wear.
That's definitely true. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
totally got it. Well, I love what you're doing. What are your milestones? What are you going for next? What are you going for next? Where do you want to be in a certain time frame? We're always interested in that.
Yeah, so our goal is to take on 100 law firms, 100 new law firms, but in the next 12 months and expand our product to be that operating system, right? So initially, we've started off with a few different workflows and products of what we're doing to automate it with AI agents, but eventually we want to keep expanding out and show that this is a one tool that you can use for kind of all of these matters. So the next 12 months, we're actually actively in the middle of a raise. And so the idea here is to raise this and actually supercharge our sales efforts and outreach in order to get in front of more and more law firms, in order to get those 100, show out value with them, and then eventually that 100 will become 1,000.
Got it. So that's your next milestone you're going for is 100.
Correct.
Good. I wish you all the best. I'm not going to wish you luck because
Yeah.
I believe it has to do with hard work and intention. So I,
Yes.
I wish you all the best intention of making that goal.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And I really like that saying.
Yeah, totally. So
Yeah.
what do you do outside of Donna AI? Like what are your hobbies? I know you're in Toronto now. Do you have any like fun things you like to do?
Yeah, I play a lot of sports. So I play everything from like basketball, pickleball, golf, volleyball. So I really like playing sports. That keeps me occupied throughout the week. I come from a background of finance and banking. Before I got into technology, I've always been interested in the global markets and the economy. So I'm an avid investor as well, and my investments are quite widespread. Everything from like public stock markets to crypto to gold to commodities to angel investing and pre-IPO companies and growth companies. So like, yeah, I just love good business, and wherever I see an opportunity for a good business, like I like to try to keep up with it, and if my finances allow it at the time, maybe even invest.
Super good. I love that. So how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm there all day. Name Saumya Banker. Other than that, you can also find me on you can find Donna at donnaanswers.com, and Donna also has a LinkedIn page, so follow us there.
Thank you for that. You go by Donna or Donna AI?
It's actually quite interesting. It's when I'm talking to investors, it's Donna AI. When I'm talking to lawyers, it's Donna.
It's Donna. And is Donna supposed to emulate a paralegal? Is that why you did that?
Yes, kind of. So Donna's supposed to emulate support staff, like an
Okay.
AI teammate. So if anyone's seen Suits, Donna is the character who, in our opinion, runs the office
Oh,
behind the
that's
scenes.
fantastic.
And so we want to be your
You want
operator.
to be Donna.
We want to be
Yeah.
Donna.
Okay. I love the name. I love the background behind the
Yeah.
name. That's awesome.
One of our company goals actually is a few years down the line, hopefully, if Donna's still around, we would actually love to have that actress as our brand ambassador. And that's
Yeah.
like one of the goals we're marching towards.
That's fantastic. Well, I have an idea for you after this podcast. I'll tell you about that. That's good.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we know how to get a hold of you. Tell us what is food for thought you'd like to leave our listeners before we end off.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say we're in the age of AI at the moment, and I know everyone's a little scared about, hey, is it going to take my job or not? And one of the things that I always think about when I'm leading with fear is how can I mitigate this fear? And in my experience, mitigating the fear has been through attaining more knowledge. With more knowledge, usually your fear lessens of that subject. So if anyone's ever scared about AI taking their job or whatnot, learn more about AI and dig a little deeper because most probably you will come to the realization that it's not here to take your job, it's more here to supercharge you. But the folks who don't use AI versus the folks who use AI, those folks with who use AI are definitely going to take the job of the folks who don't use AI.
Mic drop moment. I
Yeah.
think that's a very forward statement. It's also backed up by other disruptors and innovators on this podcast. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing what you're doing. I'm sure you're going to kick ass Yeah, so that's all we have today, guys.
Thank you so much, KJ. Really great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for listening to Disruption Interruption, where we transform lives, we change consumer behavior, we alter economics, right, Saumya?
Yep.
And we never accept the status quo. Ciao for now.
Amen. Mhm. Bye.
Amen.
Because we live in a highly litigious society, with America being one of the top litigious countries in the world, here's our legal disclaimer. This information is not intended to be a substitute for professional public relations or legal advice. Do not disregard seeking professional legal, healthcare, or financial advice, or delay seeking professional PR or legal advice because of something you have heard here. Contact an attorney to obtain advice on any particular legal situation or problem. Use of this podcast or our website or any of its social media or email links do not create an agency-client relationship between Johto PR and the user.